And we are live. Hopefully this works live, okay?
Yeah, it's been a while, so hopefully.
Yeah, let's do our intro before Mike Wiggs out here.
There we are.
Welcome back.
Hey.
I am Jeff.
I am Dave.
We're a little early today. We're broadcasting at a little after 5 today, rather than our normal 9 p.m. Mike's waking up at I don't know, 3 in the morning or something. About the time I go to bed, he's getting up.
Hey.
So.
Hashtag beat Jocko.
Yeah, whatever you want to do, dude. Just you don't need to get up that early. There's no reason for it.
There is a reason.
No.
It's my reason.
Crazy people get up that early. That's the only thing.
I may be crazy and I may be going crazy, and that's all right.
Anyway, we're beer drinkers with a Bible fetish. I'm sure you guys have caught us a few times. We might be doing the show a little bit early until he gets out of this kick of getting up so damn early, which I'm sure will eventually happen.
Doubtful.
It'll happen.
No.
It's just a phase in your life. It's just what happens.
We're gonna keep this going just to spite you.
Yeah, it'll change.
Just to spite.
I know it'll change.
Well, last week I had a legit excuse. I needed to go soak my legs afterwards because last week we ran a half marathon. So
yeah, we both did a marathon last week, and I was a little burnt out for a couple of days actually.
You were, yeah, you were out.
I was. It hurt. I don't know why. But you know what? I didn't. Ever since I did that 55-miler, I didn't recover very well after that.
And you went right into training right afterwards, so you didn't get a full train session between the 50 and the. Because when we were talking to you, I was like, "Are you running?" You're like, "I can't. My feet are dead still."
Yeah,
it took longer for that recovery than.
Like last week, I took all week off from the gym. I didn't hit it at all. I went first thing this morning. I got up and I went this morning.
Yeah, I was gonna say that was the first time in a while.
Yeah, in a week. Yeah. So, and I did nothing but weights, which I'm gonna hang out on weights and mild cardio.
Just FYI, the fact that it's a while shows how often he goes. We do go.
What's that?
I was like, it's been a while since you've been there. You're like, it's a week. And I was like, you're right. It's only been a week. That's been a while.
That's a while for me. You know?
No, I know. I hadn't seen your photo in a while.
Yeah, because usually I try to hit it several times in a week. Don't know if I'll make it tomorrow. Obviously, I do a Bible study on Tuesday mornings. But I will be there Wednesday. I might go sit in the spa or something on Thursday. So
I would recommend it. That was hugely beneficial, not Sunday, because we ran it Sunday. Like Monday morning, because I had the day off, I went Monday morning, soaked in the sauna, then I went that night, and then Tuesday morning I soaked before work as well. And that
Did you?
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it does help.
Soaking was so much more beneficial. Like, I sat in the sauna for a little bit, but that was more for like my back and my muscles. But in terms of my knees, which was really where it hurt.
Well, I was in Tacoma this weekend.
Oh, you soaked all weekend.
So I soaked all weekend in Tacoma. So I was there for the music fest. If you've never been to the town of Tacoma, we've talked about it on the show. The hot springs out there, and I was there to sit in the hot springs and listen to some music. It started on Thursday evening. I got there Wednesday evening. It started on Thursday evening and went all the way through Sunday.
Nice. How was it?
It was nice. It was actually, I had a lot of fun. A lot of people started coming in Friday night, of course, which is what I figured. And then it got pretty busy. It was almost like a mini Burning Man, really.
Just a lot of campers and people just hanging out for music and partying.
Whole different scenery, though. The spas seemed to be open most of the time. It's like everybody was there for the music rather than for the spas, which was great for me because then I got to go sit in the spas without waiting for, a pool.
There weren't a whole lot of people?
No. Wow. It made it pretty easy. So today we're going to be sampling some beers.
One of Jeff's favorites.
Yeah, this one's definitely one of my favorites. So,
but you got the extra stout.
Yeah, this one's a little different. I've had this before, but this is a little bit different. It's the extra stout. Let's do our beer pour.
Hey,
cheers. So you know, too, Guinness itself.
Guinness Extra Stout.
Guinness Extra Stout. Guinness itself, most people don't realize they think of Guinness as a stout, right? Guinness itself is actually an ale. This is a Guinness Stout. It's a little bit different. There's a difference between stout and ale.
Yeah.
But standard Guinness is an ale. Very low in alcohol, the standard Guinness. This one is a little bit higher at 5.6. I don't know what the IBU is. I'm sure it's probably got to be up quite a bit higher than the others. So What's your initial? Yeah, so you can tell the difference between Guinness and Guinness Stout.
Right.
Definitely a big difference.
I mean, it's a stout beer, so.
It's a stout versus an ale.
Yeah.
A dark ale, basically, is what Guinness is. Which is one of my favorites, but... because Guinness has that new white ale or something out now, too.
Yeah. I almost grabbed that the other day.
My wife really likes it.
The
white? Yeah, I need to try it again sometimes. I tried it when it first came out, and I think I had in my head Guinness.
Yeah.
And so when I taste it, I mean, it's not Guinness. It's a white ale.
Yeah.
So I had in my mind thinking Guinness as I'm drinking it, going, okay, this is not very good. But that could have been me because of what I was thinking at the time.
Preconceived notion, you're
exactly
prejudging it.
Exactly, which I shouldn't have done, but it's still, you do that. We all do that sometimes.
I was going to say, initial reaction, it's I get a stout because I've had so much of it. It's like, it's a get a stout.
It's a stout.
It's what I expected.
Yeah.
So.
What's your initial impression?
It's not bad, but it's not something I would buy. Like if it came to a Guinness, I'd just buy Guinness. You know, like if I'm going to get a Guinness, I'm going to get a Guinness. I'm not going to get a stout. Now,
I initially bought these to put in chili.
Well, that could be good.
I added it to chili. I put 2 bottles of it in some chili.
I can see the flavoring of this.
In chili.
Yeah.
And it made the chili taste great. Well, you tried the chili. Were you here the night I brought chili in? Yeah.
And so you put stout in there?
Oh, yeah, I did.
Oh.
Okay, so I made chili at the chili
Tacoma Chili.
At the Tacoma Takeover. They had a chili contest, right? So I made chili and I used ale in it. I used Indian Pale Ale, IPA, right? So I used that in it, 2 bottles of it, and put my chipotle in there and all my ingredients. I was the first chili as people were coming by. And everybody's like, man, this is great. This is so good, right? Gets to the end. I'm thinking, I've got this, man. People kept coming back and looking at my number going, yeah, so I've got this. Well, what I didn't realize is they said later on, make sure you guys vote. The chili people who are doing it, so Becky and I needed to go vote, right? And I didn't. I never did. And Becky didn't, right? We're just so busy because everybody kept coming back for seconds and thirds. And I'm thinking in my head going, I don't need to vote. Why do I need to vote, man? My chili's going to win anyway, period, right?
Did you lose by 2 votes?
1.
So if you 2 would have voted.
I would have won. I literally lost by 1 vote, they said. 1 vote. And then the guy came over, the guy that won. After it comes over, he comes over and he goes, dude, I don't know why I won. Your chili was better. I'm like, well, thanks, man. I like that compliment. It was pretty cool of him to say that, you know?
So you're saying is every once in a while someone should vote?
So every now and then I probably should vote.
Every once in a while.
Had we gone and voted, I would have won the chili cook-off.
Demand a recount.
I yelled that too. I'm like, the Chad was hanging. I want a recount. I started yelling that. I'm like, no, I went up congratulated him. I'm like, congratulations, dude.
Hey.
You know.
Nice.
Absolutely. I mean, it was fun. It was a fun. There was like 15 of us that made all this chili, and a lot of people come over for the chili, and they were asking for a $5 donation to taste the chilies, and most people did, and that money all went towards Tacoma, the fire department.
Yeah, the volunteer fire
department. It was all going towards it, so it was a good cause, and you know.
Nice.
And then I bought a $5 raffle prize. I saw people buying hundreds of dollars, and you put them in the thing at which prize you went, right? I bought $5. I got 3. I won 3 raffle tickets. I won. I don't even know the name of the thing. It's an instrument, that big, huge instrument that you kind of go, you know, the Australian thing.
Yeah.
I won one of those, dude. Like this real nice hand painted one.
Nice.
Yeah, it's really cool. I just got to learn to actually make it work right because I don't know how.
It out.
Yeah, I have no idea how to
YouTube
work.
videos on it.
That's what I figured. I'd watch YouTube. So I was reading a news story earlier today, and I thought it was kind of interesting. It was taking place in Canada, and it's the Calvary Church. There was a woman that went there, and she could have gone to any other church, and this was kind of the article way to put it, and even the people that are defending the church are saying this, but it turns out she has her gay partner. And she gets on staff teaching children at a Calvary church. Well, she had to sign paperwork in order to be on staff that you have to live by a certain standard.
That's standard. That's almost any church you go to.
Yeah, any one that follows biblically, right? Now, there's some liberal churches, obviously, that don't.
Every church is different.
But this one had her sign this, right? Well, she didn't say anything. She read it, didn't sign it, or signed it. And then she's teaching, and later on, she realized she comes out and says something. Well, they send a nice letter, and I read the letter. It was very nice.
And we're back.
All right.
So
anyway,
go back. Start with the woman. So
I don't know when that went out. So
she got a letter.
So she gets a letter from. Yeah, sorry about that, people. Looks like we're having some live issues here with studio here. But anyway, she had she got a letter after she starts working for the Calvary Baptist that because she's gay. And it was a very nice written letter. It wasn't anything mean. It wasn't anything derogatory. Just that you sign this, you're not following the scripture that you...
Therefore, you can't teach.
Therefore, you can't teach. You can attend the church, but you can't teach. Well, she got all bent out of shape, of course, and she's going to become an advocate now for gay rights against churches. I'm like, you've got to be fucking kidding me.
Just go find a church that you can teach at.
Exactly. And that was the thing. They're like, there are plenty of churches that'll take you. Why do you have to go to that one? So she ends up getting an attorney now.
And they're suing the church?
And they're going to sue the church on the status. Now, this is in Canada, right. So it's not here. On the status that because they are a non-profit, they have to accept everybody being a non-profit, no matter what. Oh, and they can't be against abortion either if you're a non-profit in Canada.
That is why the First Amendment is a hugely important thing in America. Yeah.
Isn't that crazy? I mean, yeah, welcome to Canada, apparently. You can't... So what I say is screw the non-profit thing. Don't be a non-profit then. Do whatever the fuck you want. At that point, now you can be that. The first church wasn't non-profit. Well, they didn't have non-profit status.
Well, there was no such thing as non-profit in the Roman Empire. There was just a group of people that lived their life the way they wanted to.
Yeah.
But that's my argument.
And paid their taxes.
Yeah.
You still had to pay your taxes.
But that's my thing in America. Like, don't be a non-profit, and you can say whatever you want.
Yeah.
You can literally... You can speak out against the government. You can speak up for politics. You can do all that if you're a corporation, and then you pay your fair share and you pay your taxes. Who cares?
Yeah.
Just pay your taxes.
That's all you got to do. Pay the taxes. And a church gives away so much anyway as it is. They're virtually non-profit as it is. If you're giving enough away or you're writing down so much as it is, you're not going to have any taxes to start with.
Right, because if you're spending you don't have any profit to begin with.
Yeah. If you don't have profit, you have nothing to tax.
Right, you just have all the taxes added into the budget. But if you want to be an advocate, whether left or right in a church, don't be a nonprofit. It's that simple.
Yeah.
Like, it's really that simple. Like, when I've got friends who always say, like, churches shouldn't be nonprofit. And I'm like, I agree. Get rid of it. But I look at it not from necessarily a church aspect. I look at it from a country aspect. Get rid of the nonprofit status altogether. Just treat everyone equal. You can be a corporation like everyone else. You can be a sole proprietor. You can be a partnership. You can be an LLC. Pick one. Pick whatever works for you and do that, and there you go.
Yeah.
Just get rid of it. Because then all the political organizations that are all tax-free, get rid of all that. Because as a Christian, as a believer...
See, now that's why they'll never get rid of it, because of the political organizations, because politicians are behind it. Right. It benefits them.
Well, because all their organizations are nonprofit.
That's right.
And that's where all their donors give a ton of money
exactly.
to write it off.
Yep.
And that's
why it'll never go away, right. Because it benefits them.
But that's where it's like, get rid of it all. And my thing is, people are like, well, it'll discourage giving. Listen, if you're a believer and you're not going to give because you don't get tax status, then what Bible are you reading?
Yeah.
Who cares if you get a right you're giving off or not?
Well, a church thrives by that's the way they thrive. That's the way they survive is solely by giving anyway. So you're going to give to your church,
right? But that's the thing. It shouldn't matter if it's tax deductible or not. As a believer, your giving should not matter whether you're getting a tax write-off or not. Your giving should be strictly because you want to give because you're a believer. And if you're only giving because of some tax status, then you need to check your heart. Like where your worship is and what you're actually doing. Because if you're only giving for a tax write-off, you're not giving because of the way God wants you to give.
Give your 10% to the church. Give another 10% to your IRA or something. You'll get to postpone that, so you don't have to worry about that. That'll be written,
You shouldn't, but giving shouldn't matter because of a tax status. Period. It shouldn't. So just get rid of the nonprofit status. Now they won't because of the political organizations, obviously. You've got so many of them, but those shouldn't even be nonprofit. No, I never understood those. Those being nonprofit never...
Yeah, how is a politician, for their campaign, start a nonprofit that you give to for a campaign,
see,
and then they spend all the money. Yeah,
so the politician can't start it. It's people. They're PACs, political action committees.
Okay.
They're people who are donating their time and resources to help with the elected officials, and
so that's how it works. Okay, and then you give to that, and then that pays for the money for the politician.
Because politicians can only receive like $2,500 or $3,000 per person every 6 months or so.
Yeah.
So you can't give a whole lot to a politician, but to a PAC, you can write like $100,000 check to.
That's right.
So all these people donate the money to the PACs that support their politicians.
So you get rid of all that. You put everybody on an even playing field at that point, at that $3,000 or whatever it is. And then anything else, they've got to come out with their own money.
But that's where
or somebody else spends the money for them.
Well, that was the Supreme Court case that they struck down. I forgot which. Oh gosh, been out of the game for so long. It's whatever the Supreme Court was that struck it down with money and politics, where they passed a bill that said you couldn't do that, and it stifled the money, and then all of a sudden, that ruling got overturned, and now all of a sudden everyone's allowed to give whatever they want to a PAC.
To a PAC.
To a PAC. You can't give to the actual.
Now, how long ago did that take place? I mean, I don't know. I mean, you went to school for this stuff. You probably took that in
It's just stuff I watched. I mean,
oh, okay. I figured maybe there was something you studied in accounting.
I haven't gotten a nonprofit yet, but that's just. I mean, it's just dumb to me, like the whole thing. So, you're drinking fast.
I like Guinness, dude.
I mean, the whole thing with nonprofit, I just don't care. Like, if you believe in something, do it. Who cares?
Yeah.
Period. Who cares?
Yeah, I agree.
Like, just get rid of them for all politicians shouldn't have tax exempt status. Churches shouldn't have tax exempt status. I don't understand why churches get a different treatment as a believer. If we're supposed to be...
Well, I think that's where it started, didn't it? Nonprofits probably started with churches and then spread from there to other organizations. I'm guessing, I would think, because it seems like they were the only ones for the longest time.
I mean, you always had charity in this country for the longest time, but the income tax and all that didn't start till 1914, 1913 when they passed the...
Yeah.
Because they had to pass the federal amendment to get the income tax.
Yes.
Because taxes were considered property, or your income was considered property, so they had to pass a amendment
to get income.
To be able to tax your income.
Yeah.
But then they had to start carving out loopholes for everybody.
Yeah, of course.
So, and it's just...
Corporations, the biggest loophole.
Corporations, though, were created mainly for legal purposes, for legal protection.
And loopholes.
Well, corporations were created before the taxes. I mean, taxes have always been around. Corporations have been around for a long, long time.
Yeah, but corporations were around even during the Roman times, weren't they?
Correct. Corporations have been around
that's what I mean. So, they've been around for a long time.
But they weren't created for loopholes. They were created for legal protections. So once taxes became intrusive under progressive tax systems, later on, like 1900s, that's when all of that kind of stuff came in with progressive taxes. But before, you didn't really have but that's the thing. You go back in history, like the recession taught me a lot. Like in 2007, 2008, when the Bank of England, they started dropping interest rates. There was an interesting tidbit on one of the financial shows I was listening to, and they said the Bank of England, or the National Bank in London, I forgot the name of the bank, they hadn't had interest rates as low as they had since the 1600s. And I had to stop when I heard...
The 1600s.
Think about that, right? The central bank in England hadn't dropped interest rates as low as it had since the 1600s.
Wow.
Then you have to start think, how long has this system been around? Because we think of it's only been around since like the 1900s, 1950s, right?
No. I mean, come on. We've copied a lot of the Roman system too.
No, I know, but from
and the Greek system,
like the central banking system had been around that long, and then I started looking at like I was watching one of the pirate movies, and I realized the English, the old East Indian Trading Company, and then you had the Dutch Indian Trading Company, and everything was the Indian Trading Company. Well, they were basically multinational corporations. And I needed to, one of the things when I'm done with school is I really want to research the Indian trading companies to see how many of these people were the same people but had to set up their corporation in different countries. Because at the time, you think about it, you didn't have the technology to do a multinational corporation like you do today.
Yeah.
But how many of them just set up the same corporation in every country?
Yeah.
So you had the Dutch Indian Trading Company and the English, the East Indian Trading Company.
Just that corporation in every single country.
Correct. Yeah. But it was run by various people, but it was the same people that are running it.
Yeah.
I mean, the Indian Trading Companies, for the most part, all of them, were your first I wouldn't say your first, but they were very large multinational corporations.
Absolutely.
They dealt with India, China, all of Europe, even the West.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, at the time, you know,
well, they made the world more global than, you know, they initially made it global with all the shipping and everything else.
They were running the slave trade, they were running the silk trade, they were running all of that. The India trade, the tea trade, the IPAs, India Pale Ale, was being transported by these companies. I mean, this stuff's been around for...
Well, you know why India Pale Ale was first invented, right?
I don't know why it was first invented.
India Pale Ale is actually, it's very pungent beer, very pungent. It's designed to travel. It was designed for the seamen that worked for them on the ships, so they can drink it on the ships while they were sailing. It was a beer that lasted a really, really long time.
Right, while on transit.
While on transit, because of the way it was brewed, the way it was made, with all the hops and everything in it. It was almost like a preservative for it, that they can drink this thing warm while they traveled.
Right.
That was the whole essence of India Pale Ale. Now, of course, today it's been modified, it's changed, everything else. We kind of speed it up, but the way they originally brewed it was for the shipping trade.
And that makes sense. I mean, those were long journeys.
Yeah, they were long. Yeah, it took months to cross some of those oceans, and they wanted their beer while they crossed.
I mean, that was the whole point of Columbus. He wanted to find a shorter route between Spain and India.
Yeah.
Well, he wanted it from England and India, but they wouldn't give him the money, and
then Spain gave him the money.
And now we remember.
And then he landed in the Bahamas. Never did discover America. He actually landed in the in the Caribbean. I don't know if it was the Bahamas, but Caribbean.
He was somewhere in the Caribbean.
Yeah, he didn't make it here.
No, he didn't.
And even before him, what was he? 1492. You had the Vikings here before them.
Right, they were like 800.
The Norsemen,
but they landed up in Nova Scotia.
Yeah, the Norsemen, but they actually traveled all the way down the East Coast.
Right.
So they came and hit up all the East Coast, the Norsemen. And then you had the Mayflower, of course, that came later on, the Pilgrims.
Yeah. That was 1700s.
Yeah.
And they hit in Boston.
Yep.
So.
Yeah.
I mean, you had a lot of people, but that was the age of exploration, too. I mean, it's interesting. That's a whole different debate on, Columbus and how much the hatred for him and everything. But it's the conversation of we judge the cultural context of what was done back then, which was atrocious. I'm not saying it was right in any way, but culturally, that's the way people lived.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's like we judge him today like he should have known better, but at the time, most people didn't know better about what was going on.
Here we go. That makes me think of another article I read. So I read this, and you probably read the Denison Forum several times. He writes some good stuff. But he wrote, one of the headlines was, is there more hate crime today, or was hate crime is on the rise, is what it's about. And why is hate crime on the rise today? So I'll throw that over to you. Why do you think hate crime's on the rise?
Well, see, but that's the thing. I don't believe it is. I think we're giving it a much larger voice today than we were 10 years ago.
Okay.
I think 10 years ago we just ignored it because it's awful speech, it's awful people, and it's terrible people, so why the heck are we going to give them any form of voice? But today, we're shoving microphones in these people's faces.
Yeah.
We're using social media, we're giving them a voice, and we're giving them a platform. Back in 2012 or 2013, I don't know how many people remember when Sarah Palin disappeared. You remember when she just disappeared?
Yeah, she did, actually.
So, it was interesting. There was an article written by a girl at Salon. Salon's a political website. She wrote an article. She's like, she's like, all of you people you keep complaining about Sarah Palin. Here's how you make her go away. Stop talking about her. Stop talking about her, and she'll disappear.
Yeah.
But you keep shoving a mic in her face, and you keep pointing to her, you're going to keep giving her a platform. Within a couple months, it was like this light went on to everyone who was writing about her. Within a couple months, gone. She still had her TV show, she was still doing, but it was only within her little circle of people that followed her. The platform was gone, and she's never had it back. People literally just ignore her now. Like, no, you're not worth our time. We're just going to ignore you now.
I never really followed her, so I don't even know what
the
big hype was about.
I'm not getting right, like whether you like it or not. But you just stopped talking to her. Like, classic example, right? When Trump's getting elected, Huntington Beach, right? All of a sudden, this rally of white supremacists show up at Huntington Beach, and all these people, like I remember looking at social media, everyone's like, where did they all come from? Where are all these white supremacists coming from at Huntington Beach?
It's HB, man. They've been there forever.
I had a bunch of my friends that I grew up like skating in the punk rock culture. Every single one of them, and most of them
black shoes, white shoelaces.
Most of them are on the left. They're all looking at their friends like they never left.
It's been here the whole time.
Like
man.
Huntington Beach, like when I was a kid, like late 80s, 90s, like white supremacists were in Huntington Beach. American History X movie with Edward Norton. Venice Beach, California. That was the 90s. That was the 90s. Like, they were...
I went and saw the Bus Boys in Huntington Beach at a club right by the pier. The Bus Boys. I don't even remember who the Bus Boys were. No. They were a black group. Didn't go over real well, man. There ended up being a riot in Huntington Beach. And I went there because they were a great group back then. This was like in 83, 84. They were great. No, it didn't go over real well. Yeah, all them boys showed up there and started rioting.
But after the 90s, right, like the rise of skate punk and punk rock culture, when it kind of reemerged in the 90s and skateboarding took over, it was interesting watching the decline of the white supremacist movements in Venice and Huntington and all of that in the 90s. Because in the early 90s,
it may have declined, but it never went away. It was still always kind of like a regressive movement.
It declined in terms of pop culture, right? Like in terms of the media and pop culture and everyone who's... Everybody just started shunning them and ignoring them. The voice went away. The platform went away. They took the mics away. They took the... And it's like they just took a camera and just pointed it someplace else. We're done with you. You're not worth our time. If you want to believe that crap, you know, if you're a Christian who's a white supremacist, you need to really read Scripture because you're way off base.
Yeah.
Like completely off base. You know, just so you know, Jesus is an Arab. Like he's from the Middle East. Like that's where he was from. And we've talked about it before that many of the people from in the Old Testament would probably be black. Many of the Egyptians.
You know what I think is funny too is so many Christians are anti-Semitic too. Even Martin Luther, you know, Constantine, all these people throughout history were anti-Semitic. But if you actually look at it, Jesus came and fulfilled Jewish prophecy.
Well, if you look at all the players, pretty much of
the Jews, they were all Jews.
You look at all the apostles,
Jews.
They were Jews.
Yeah, Jews.
They were John the Baptist, Jew.
Paul,
Jew. Peter. Jew. John.
No. Here's one. Christ.
Jew.
You
know, but it's like when I see all these studies, like not studies, when I hear all these people like Trump, you know, in America, and it's gotten worse, and I'm like, how is it for 8 years everything was fine, and then all of a sudden in 2 years it went up? No, you put a camera in front of these people, and then every time like. There was a national rally in Washington, D.C., and all these white supremacists were going to show up, and it was like 300 people.
Yeah.
But yet, for like a week or so, there was this buildup. There's going to be this, there's going to be this, there's going to be this. And then all of a sudden the day comes, and it goes away, and the media doesn't talk about it. Because there was no one there. Because there aren't that many people. There just aren't. Yet we're putting mics in these people's faces for some form of political agenda. Good Lord.
You know, I don't think it's just political agenda. It could be political agenda. I think it's to sell newspapers is all it's for.
Well,
it's for ratings. Okay. It's all for ratings.
Not necessarily. Oh, yeah, we got to rate this.
Yeah, let's rate this. So how would you... We'll go back on this topic here in a minute.
Yeah.
How would you rate this Guinness here?
I mean, it's a Guinness, but it's not my favorite Guinness, so I'll do 1 1/4.
Yeah, see, it's Guinness. It's stout. Guinness does a great stout. I'm going to give it a 2.75. Or no, 1.75. I'm sorry. I can only go as high as 2.
Don't be... He's trying to sneak in an extra thumb on there, people.
I was boosting yours up.
He doesn't get my extra thumb.
1.75. I'm going to give this one a 1.75. And so, oh, by the way, so I'm in Tacoma, and he's off getting beer, guys. That's why he's not on camera. So I'm in Tacoma, and I brought some of that beer that we rated on the show, right? I have a couple bottles left that we both gave it a 1.75. So I brought it, and I gave it to the brewer out there. Dude, he loved it.
Dan
and John.
Oh, yeah?
They loved it, man. Nice. They're like, dude, this is awesome beer. And I'm like, man, maybe I need to brew this beer. Shit, it's like taking off. Okay, we're doing a Firestone Union Jack IPA next.
Beer before glory.
So, wait a minute. 1.25, 1.75. Okay.
Total of 3.
3, okay.
7% by volume.
Whoa, a little bit stronger.
It's an IPA.
So,
Yeah.
Firestone Brewery. Let's see. You know what? I wish they'd put IBUs on here, but most people probably wouldn't even understand the damn thing. So,
no worries.
twist off, pry off, pry off.
Pry off. There you go.
You want me to do yours?
Really?
Beer all over the place.
Spilling beer all over the table.
Dude, all I did was pry it off.
Don't have a towel or anything.
You got paper towels.
Dude?
Yeah, I'm going to drop off camera a second. You talk.
Yeah. So, hey, Jeff brings up a good point. It's not so much a political agenda. It's a media-driven agenda for ratings and TV and whatever. So, something to talk about. But, I don't know. I get annoyed by it. That's why I have not been... I've been off social media for so long now. It's actually been it's been so refreshing.
You know, I've actually kind of taken somewhat of a break. I'm not like off of it, but I don't check it like I used to.
Well, that's the thing. I self police, so I block myself.
Okay.
And then I found a good like web plugin where I can put certain websites. So I blocked the main news sites I used to read every day and Facebook. You know, because I don't really check other websites. You need to do the beer pour before you sip that.
Oh, I already kind of did. All right.
Slacker.
Beer pour. Beer pour. Beer pour. Beer pour.
It's making sound right now.
I know it is. And I'm making sound with it. Cheers. Beer before glory. I like that. That's kind of cool.
Ooh, actually, first impression's good.
First impression,
I
IPA.
like it.
It's not bad for an IPA.
I do like it. So,
Kind of a stronger hoppy IPA. It's got the IPA taste to it.
but good.
You know, for somebody that didn't like IPAs for the longest time,
I know.
they've like grown on you or something.
I mentioned that a couple weeks ago. Like, all of a sudden, like, IPAs are, like, turning in, not to my thing, but, like...
But you're getting a taste for them, definitely.
Yep, absolutely.
So now we got to go back and try the Dogfish 120.
I found it. I found the six-pack in individual bottles.
Yeah, Lee's usually has it.
I saw it at Total Wine.
Okay.
So, it's expensive.
What are they charging there?
$43 for a six-pack.
Actually, that's not bad. At Lee's, it's $10 a bottle.
Yeah, it's $11 a bottle, but it's...
Or a six-pack, 40-something bucks.
Yeah.
So, for you guys don't know, Dogfish 120 is
That was really good, though.
It's one of my favorites
That was
out
really
there.
good.
It's 17% alcohol. So
It's strong.
IBUs are really low compared to this. It's not nearly as... I think the alcohol level being up is taking it down here. But their fermentation process is months. You know, when I was reading their recipe on how they do that, that's how they're getting that level up so high. So, we were talking about the news, you know, and you said, yeah, giving them attention. Well, you look at some of these groups out there right now, like Antifa.
Anti-fascist group.
Yeah, and, you know, all they do is go in and cause riots, cause problems, hurt people, everything else. If the media just didn't give them any attention, zero. Now, going back on the Dennison article, what he tried to refer it to, what we're talking about now, the media and the spotlight and everything else on these people, he said, yeah, that plays an equation in it. But the way he wrote the article was, you always have to look at it, too, that everybody has such an easy way of falling into the evil that's going on, especially if it's in your face all the time.
Yeah.
So we all need to check ourselves individually going, am I falling for this crap because it's something that's, obviously as a Christian, something indwelling in us. You know, that evil that's part of everybody that's like, okay, am I just getting attracted to this crap now and becoming part of it? Or am I... You know, do I need to check myself?
Well, because I have heard, like, there's the idea of, like, copycats, and if you give a lot of things a lot of media attention, more people will join in for recognition and whatnot. I saw this living in L.A. I don't know if you remember, I don't know if you were in L.A. or not, when they made it illegal to stop showing car chases live. Do you remember this?
No, I remember watching them all the time.
Well, correct. So they used to show them, you know, remember it was a big thing, police chase, and every news channel would go. Well, they made it wasn't a law, but it was kind of an understood thing where...
Well, didn't they do that after the guy blew his head off on camera?
It wasn't right after that one, because they still were showing him, but there was a little bit after. It came out, people were doing it for attention. People would run.
Oh, yeah.
People would run just to get, like, their 30 seconds.
Get the camera on them, yeah.
Right. So there was kind of an understood thing. They would no longer show a police chase live. Now in L.A., they never show them live. They'll report police chase, police avoid these freeways. They won't show anything. They'll just tell you to avoid certain freeways in the traffic report. Like it'll come across like active police chase on the I-10 near the 405. Please avoid the area.
Yeah.
And that's about all you're going to get out of a police chase in Los Angeles now. But they said once they stopped reporting on them live and doing that, they saw a dramatic drop on people who were running because they were no longer getting their 30 seconds of fame. You could run, but now you're going to get all the punishment and no glory. You know, now the police, it's interesting because they'll still follow and record it. And then after it's over, you know, they'll put
maybe air it on TV or
that night. They'll show some clips and be like active police chase at 4:00 in the afternoon. They'll show some.
They'd go on for hours. Correct. I remember back when I lived there in the through the 90s.
People would just take off.
Yeah, it'd become the big spectacle at work. I'd be working and stuff. It's like it's on TV. It's like it's still going on. Every time you take a break, it's like still going.
Yep.
Sit there on your break, watching this guy.
You start thinking in your head, what freeway are they going to get? How are they going? Where are they going? Are they trying to go to Vegas? Trying to go to Mexico? Are they going to make it? Do they have if they have depending on the car, if they had a full tank?
Then you're sitting there going, dumbass, and then you're looking at the cops going, just shoot his tire out, pit him, hit his ass, But of course, in California, they try to stop all that stuff. Oh, it's police brutality. No bullshit. Fucking run into him.
Well, they always use the spikes or whatnot. They'd always get them stopped. There's always some place, but they saw a dramatic reduction, and so one of the things I've heard today. Because of all this reporting on anti-Semitism and white supremacists and everything, they're seeing an increase because of the attention they're getting. Yeah. So it's like, stop giving them attention.
Yeah.
Like, you need to cut it out. We need to go back to where we were 5-6 years ago where we weren't talking about these people. Take their mic away. Like, we're voluntarily, as a community, whether you're on social media, whether you're in the media, you're giving a voice to people who haven't earned that voice, who don't deserve that voice. I'm not saying they're not allowed to think that way or say whatever they want. You want to go out to the street and scream your head off, that is your right.
You protest whatever you want.
You can say what you want. You can print what you want. You can build a website. You can say it all on social. I don't care if you want to be that person. I just don't care because I just don't think you should have a voice. Mm-hmm. And the fact that our media and people are giving these people voices, it's like, take the mic out of their face.
Yeah.
Take it away.
Yeah.
Because they don't deserve it. And you're giving attention to people who, quite frankly, they shouldn't have it.
So I remember watching, right after Trump got elected, and it was in Portland, because my mom lives up in that area. And I saw this. I'm sitting there watching a guy driving through with a Jeep, and nice Jeep, too. And he had an American flag on his Jeep. And my son realized this in California, too, and I'll talk about that in a second. But in Portland, just by having an American flag, you were considered a Trump supporter, which I think is the biggest bullshit there is. So you can't be patriotic towards the country no matter, you must be a Trump supporter, which I think is crap. So anyway, he's driving down the street, and this young girl comes up to him and starts screaming, you must be a Trump supporter, and you even voted for Reagan, didn't you? It's like, this girl ain't even old. She wasn't even born when Reagan was around. I'm sitting there listening to this, and he's filming her. It's all on camera. Well, next thing you know, people are coming up and smashing into his Jeep and throwing stuff at him and stuff, and they're all over the place. And the cops are way up the street. You can see them. They're up there. They're not coming in yet. And I'm sitting there looking at this going, dude, step on the gas and go. They will get the hell out of the way. If they don't, they're in the middle of the street, run their fucking ass over. And he's sitting there, and they're beating his car. They're smashing his windshield in. And this is what happens when you just had an American flag? My son started talking about that because I have a flag on the side of my Jeep, right? And he says, Dad, don't come to California. If you park at my place, make sure you take the flag off. And I'm like, I'm not taking the flag off my Jeep. Why should I not be proud of where I live? That is stupid. And he goes, because they're robbing him and they're breaking him up here in California. He took the stuff off of his vehicle because of it. Yep. That's the biggest crap I've ever heard.
Well,
but that's the media attention that's got this crap going on.
Well, and it's funny, like when you hear about the ratings of CNN, MS, like the big cable news that everyone attributes the problem. The funny thing about that, the majority of people who watch that is the older generation that's about to die. Like, it's kind of this reaction, like...
Oh, watching CNN, you mean?
Right, like, well, all of it. CNN, MSNBC, and Fox. Like, those three...
I don't watch any of them. I don't care less.
But it's the older generation. It's the older demographic that watch them. The younger generation isn't watching these people. Now granted, they're all on social media.
And that's where they're seeing it, because all those stories are being brought into social media, though, too. Because
Well,
you see links to those stories.
It's your echo chamber, right? Like, if you're on the right, your social media isn't... It caters to your likes, right? Like, your likes and your dislikes and everything, it caters to you. So it naturally creates, like, an echo chamber. A naturally occurring echo chamber, which I think is very dangerous for people. I think it's dangerous for Christians, because Christians already lived in a bubble, right? Like, we can acknowledge Christians already lived in a bubble. Yeah. Social media just enhanced that bubble. Yeah. Where you're like, well, everyone thinks that way. That's all I see on social media. Is everyone? It's like, no, the algorithm has created that bubble for you, and so that's where you live. Just like people on the right or people on the left, these algorithms have created these natural, from everything from what you see on Amazon to your shopping habits, like all of this stuff is algorithm based, catered to you specifically.
Well, it is. I use those algorithms myself for my own business.
As a business person. So, like, from
you do a search, I'm going to pop up. You've seen searches of me pop up.
I get you in my feed.
Yeah.
Like, anytime you buy an ad, I know when you've bought an ad, because you're all over my feed. So, not anymore. Now I'm not on Facebook, so I don't know. You may be buying the ad. I ain't seeing it. I ain't seeing nothing. But no, we live in a bubble that's created by our own preferences.
Yeah.
Which is good and bad, right? Like, the good part is, like, when I go to shop for things, or if I'm looking for, like, I remember 5-6 years ago, I hated ads because nothing ever pertained to me. Now, it's like you say, everyone's like, I was just talking about that. How'd they know? There's all these predictive algorithms.
There is.
But these predictive algorithms have gotten so good now where things just pop up.
Well, what people don't know, too, is everywhere you go on Google, everything's stored and maps, and you can get that information. There are third-party companies out there that actually have that information from Google on what you've looked at and where you've shopped. So you look at a certain thing, you ever notice all of a sudden that ad pops back up on you, that certain person. Facebook does the same thing
It tracks
on stuff you've done, and it tracks the friends that you're linking to and that you're looking at, and then next thing you know, you're getting them in your feed, and that's the way Facebook works. My Facebook's kind of interesting, where I get things from right and left, because I have friends on both sides, and I don't care. I'd much rather go and listen to their arguments and drink a beer with them. But I've always been that way. I'm part of the older generation that'll do that. Whereas it seems to me the younger generation really created a lot of bubble on both sides, whichever side they're on, and they clash big time. And it's kind of sad there's no crossover to sit and listen to another side and then go have a beer and talk about it.
Well, so I'll say it's interesting, like, friends on social media that I have, whether they lean left or right, Christian, non-Christian, they'll post one way on social media. Like, if you were to look at their feed, whatever they are, you'd look at them and be like, oh my gosh, this person's terrible. But then I'll go out with them, and they're a completely different person in person.
Keyboard warriors.
Than they are on social media.
Keyboard warriors, yeah.
But it's interesting, like, in person, they're very reasonable, very talkative, exchange ideas, back and forth, open to things. But then, like, I've noticed with a lot of them, and I may do this myself, I don't know, I don't follow myself well enough, you could speak to that, you see my stuff. I'll have a conversation with somebody one day, and then literally the rest of the week, they're posting stuff that literally we just had a conversation about, that they understood, and it's like, I wonder why. Like, what got missed, or is social media really just a front, like, to put something up? And I've heard this from other people. Like, I have a friend who's on the left, and his buddy's on the right. And when they have a conversation, they're very reasonable. But then
we're kind of blanking out again. Live stream went dead. Video input low. There it goes, green, yellow, red. Health is red. We're fading out. We're 44 minutes into it. I just noticed it. I don't know how long it's been doing it.
It's right over there, too.
It's like blinking all over the place.
Right at 6. Oh, we're green. So we're back.
Maybe.
Yep.
We're waiting. Okay, we're back.
We're good. So we don't know where we got caught off, but just in case, we're going to go ahead and rate this next beer.
Yeah, I'll combine the two videos together. I got the editing software. I'll pull them off and combine them and then post them as one. So that'll make it a little bit easier. I can do that tomorrow.
Let's do the verse real quick because it's Thanksgiving week. So
yes.
we didn't really talk. So real quick, because we are talking about having a conversation before you do the verse. If you're going to go be with your family, try to have civil discourse.
So let's see. Our verse of the week. Give thanks in all circumstances, for this is the will of God in Christ Jesus for you. So that's our verse of the week. We wanted to get that up there. 1 Thessalonians 5:18. We also had, we're having there's a lot of issues with internet at this time. A lot of people get off work, I think, and they kind of start working it, and so. And we have the high-speed internet here where I'm at, but for some reason, it just doesn't seem to work right. I do have one other thing, too. We're going to do this, just kind of a funny one. Transition. I'm going to fade this in there. Okay, this is for all you people that play Christmas music way, way too damn early. Playing Christmas music in November is the same thing as singing Happy Birthday a month early. And look at that dude's face right there. You can see it.
Full disclosure, all last week I was listening to Christmas music.
Yeah, dude, that's just wrong. I'm telling you, it's wrong.
Great. It was great.
Yeah.
It was great.
I don't even listen to Christmas music during Christmas time, dude. I really don't.
Oh, I love it. I got into it with the wife and I. Our only weekend to decorate was this weekend because we're family and everything. We just don't have time, so we went out and we did all our decorating, so our house is all done. Well, almost all done. There's a few things we got to finish, but we had to get everything done because we just won't have time over the next couple of weeks.
Okay.
So we went ahead and we got an early start. So yes, I am one of those people where our Christmas decorations are already up, and we were listening to Christmas music.
Dude, I got turkeys around my house. I don't have Christmas stuff. Will come up later on.
That's fine, but
that's on the week.
I was dancing with my 10-month-old. We were dancing to Christmas music.
You just take time during the middle of the week or something. You put your Christmas decorations up. You don't have to do it on a weekend.
Listen, I wake up at 3 a.m., go to the gym, and do homework afterwards.
There's just something wrong with you getting up at 3 a.m. I keep saying that. There's something wrong with you.
I know you say there's something wrong with me. However, I enjoy getting up at 3 a.m. to go work out.
Something wrong with you, dude.
It's amazing. It's an amazing feeling.
All right, let's rate this beer here, this Firestone Union Jack IPA. And it looks like it took off right where we left off, by the way. So at least YouTube's smart enough to figure that out.
Right, and just keep it all as one.
I'm going to give this a 1 1/4.
I was going to do the exact same thing.
Okay, so it's a 2.5.
Yep.
Yeah, I like IPAs. Mm-hmm. It's a very strong IPA for you guys that are into IPAs. It's a very strong hoppy one. You definitely will get the hoppiness out of it.
But it's good.
It is good.
It's actually really good. It was smooth.
So yeah,
I don't say usually about an IPA, but it was actually really good.
Yeah, some are pretty raspy. Mm-hmm. Yeah, they almost like burns as you're drinking it. But no, this one was really good. So our wrap up, we've got the Firestone with a total of 2.5, and the other one with a total of 3. So the Guinness Stout with a 3. So you guys out there looking to get some beer,
absolutely.
Here we go. We got Thanksgiving coming up this week. I hope you give thanks to God, thanks for your family.
Absolutely. Don't be afraid to have conversations. Just remember to be humble.
Yes.
We don't know it all. Everything we say, my views have changed year to year.
I do all the time.
They constantly change. I just try to listen and educate myself, and I've come a long way. And I hope what I believe today changes in certain aspects. Obviously, my faith in the principles of Christ, but the open-handed stuff, obviously, as I continue to grow and learn and read and educate myself and have more conversations with people.
And that's how we learn from each other and talking and being open-minded.
And I think that's the lesson this year. It's politics obviously rounds the table. Politics and football, whatever your college team is, as long as it's not Alabama, you're okay in my book. If you're an Alabama fan or an Urban Meyer fan, we're going to have some issues.
There's his bubble.
What?
There's the bubble. Anything but that's on the outside?
No.
Yeah, it sounds like Alabama's on the outside of the bubble.
I'm just not a fan of Urban Meyer, but if he coaches USC, I'm going to have to swallow my pride and just have to be a fan of him. But as far as Alabama, they're just really good. Nick Saban's just an awesome coach. They're winning every game by 30 points, and it's kind of ridiculous. So, you got to hate the best, even though they're phenomenal.
So have you been watching any of the UFC house stuff? where they got the Ultimate Fighter? Do you
I
watch Ultimate Fighter?
I haven't been watching. I don't watch Ultimate Fighter.
Oh, see, I watch Ultimate Fighter.
So,
you know me, I'm in all the fighting.
Yeah,
stuff,
I watched.
so.
Well, we watched the FS1 fights.
Okay.
So we watched.
It's actually been pretty good.
I missed the
Ultimate
last
Fighter's
two.
been a good season this year. They've had guys and girls on this time around.
Yeah,
so.
the final this year though is on Fight Pass, which I don't have, so I can't watch it.
Yeah.
Because we were looking at the upcoming cards. Me and my brother-in-law, we actually saw the upcoming cards and all of them. Like every upcoming card, we're like, damn, there's some really good cards coming up.
There is.
So like, there's some really good and the year ends with Jones and Gustafsson.
Yeah, which I always said Jones should never come back, but hey, it's all about money again.
You know, but here's the thing: Jones is a damn good fighter.
Oh, he is. He is.
He is a damn.
He
good
is,
fighter.
but there's got to be some repercussions for some of the stuff you screw up on, and they just don't have any repercussions really.
They do. He hasn't had the belt in years.
Yeah, well, but he's got the money coming in, and he still gets a fight. That's.
Yeah.
You're only given so many warnings. When you keep getting one warning after another, and they just keep letting him back, then where's...
We are a meritocracy society. When you are the best, exceptions are made.
Yeah, that's just it.
I mean, when you are the best...
Oh, it's true.
Like, here's the thing. If Jones wasn't as good as he was...
Oh, he'd be gone.
He'd be gone. Okay?
Yeah.
He wouldn't have a chance.
Yeah, he'd be gone. I agree.
You know who's going to get another fight when he finally gets healthy is Cain Velasquez. You can say what you want about him. He's been hurt.
He's a hell of a fighter, too. But
when Cain gets healthy and he comes back, he's not going to start off at 10 or 12. He's coming back. He won't get a title shot right away, but it'll be like second fight because it's Cain Velasquez. And Cain, he's a damn good fighter. Yeah. And so he's gonna get that title shot because he's that good. Brock Lesnar, hate him all you want.
He'll get a good fight.
The man,
if he comes back.
Yeah,
he's got so many health issues though that may keep him out.
The health issues for the most part have been like he's held up in WWE with some of the fights that he's done.
Yeah, but the thing with his gut, when he takes a punch there, that's his problem now because he's got a...
Well, the first two punches exposed the problem. So he hasn't fought since it's quote-unquote been fixed. So...
No, I thought he came back for one and took a punch and felt it.
No. Remember, he fought Mark Hunt and he was fine.
Okay.
He fought Hunt and Hunt hit him. Like, Hunt's a beast of a man.
Well, Hunt's a huge man.
Right, but then Brock had the, not the steroid, but he had that chemical in his system that makes your physique look good.
Yeah, okay.
Because he took it on short notice in WWE. There's something that, it's a steroid of sorts, but not for strength, for physique, is from what I heard. But because he didn't have 100 days and he didn't have the testing and it didn't get cleared.
It showed up,
He got popped for that, so. And
well, that's a newer steroid that actually was recently put on a ban list.
Yeah.
That actually, because the whatever's on ban list, they adopt from the Olympic Committee. You know that, right?
USADA does?
Yeah.
Okay.
So they just adopted it from there, and it was more of a recent one. Probably. That he was taken, because I've taken it before, the stuff he's been taking.
For physique and whatnot?
It's for physique, and it's a testosterone booster is basically what it is. But he's done it, and they've now adopted it because it boosts your test up, your natural test so high that it gives you that... kind of thing.
But that's the thing, like Brock in his fights before the one with Mark Hunt, he was clean, and it's Brock. So like,
Brock's a wrestler, so he's used to taking the steroids anyway as a wrestler.
Brock's but he's just a beast of a human being. Like
big boy.
He's a beast of a human being.
He's a big boy.
So, but that's the thing. Like reading a couple of the MMA sites, the one thing they've been saying, and even DC made the comment. He's like. I think Brock's taking the fight, and they're like, why? He's like, you look at him at WWE, his physique's gone. Like, the outline, the six-pack's gone, like, the muscle. He's like, he's a lot smaller. He's leaner. The outline, you can tell the drugs, he's weaning off the drugs. Because one of the deals to come back on suspension, he had to re-enter the USADA program. So he's back in USADA, so he can't take any of that stuff. But his suspension doesn't until January.
So he'll be back.
So all signs, like if he let his body go like that, WWE, you sell your body. Now, granted, Brock's at the point where he can do whatever he wants, but if you let yourself go, you're not letting yourself go unless you're.
Oh, come on! Look at what's his name that's won all those fights that eats hamburgers and stuff. The big, huge, gutted dude. Oh, it's we got a friend that loves him too.
I love. It's not Cowboy. Big Country.
Big Country.
Yep.
Big Country. That boy.
Fun fact.
Oh, he's got cardio out the freaking yin yang as big as he is too.
I'm at Walmart about a month ago.
You saw him? He's from here.
Right. He's walking in with his kid and his wife as I'm walking out. Big Country ain't that big.
No, he's not a big guy.
Like on camera, he looks big.
No,
I saw
camera
him.
Makes everybody look bigger.
I saw him walk in, and it was just like, oh damn! He's like 6'2", 6'3". He has a gut, but it's not like on camera.
He's a little bit taller than me, but probably my size.
He looks
my
like
physique,
way over fat. Looks fat. He's not. He's got a belly.
Yeah.
But dude's in shape.
Yeah.
Like.
Oh yeah. He's got cardio out the freaking yin yang.
Oh yeah.
Because he'll go. He fought that 5-rounder, and went all 5 rounds, and like still had energy left.
There's a YouTube video my friend showed me of Big Country. I think it's him and Frank Mir grappling in gis for like 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And you're watching this, and you're just like, Big Country, the size he is, grappling, just rolling. And my friend told me about this, and I remember watching it just like, because he used to tell me all the time, he's like, Mike, it's not about what you look like, it's about what you can do.
Yeah.
Because
exactly
what you look like is your diet. And like your diet's what's going to get you slim. Your cardio will help, and doing your workouts will help, but your diet's what's going to get you real slim.
Dude, as big as I am, I did 55 miles.
Yeah. With
a 30-pound pack. It's not...
right. If you train for it, you can get it.
Yeah, it's diet. Diet is all physique.
So, but
and most people don't realize that. They go to lose weight, they want to look good, they do all that, but they keep eating the same crap.
Right, they don't change their diet.
Change your diet. Diet is 90% of all of it for your physique. You can change your diet alone and look good.
Oh, yeah.
You want the muscle tone and stuff, now you got to start getting the work out. You got to do
the work.
But you just want to look good and lose weight, that's diet, man. Oh, yeah. That's pure diet. That's just calorie intake, what you eat.
But it's been crazy. Like, I will say, if you guys are UFC fans, the fight cards that are coming up.
End of the year is always this way.
It's so
I like end of the year.
There's some good girl fights, all weight classes. Like,
it's funny because I've never been into the girl fights until I watched some live. But it was when I started coaching girls, when I was a wrestling coach, and the other coaches were like, I'm not coaching the girls, dude. I'm like, dude, I was second in line from the head coach, and I was second coach, right? And later on the next year, I took head coach. But I was the second line coach, and they're like, dude, I'm not coaching girls. There's like 4 of us. I'm like, why not? We're like, we don't want the liability. We're not taking the chance. And I'm like, it's real easy. You have the guys show the guy a move, and let the guys show the girls the move, actual one-on-one. Don't wrestle the girls yourself. Don't ever do that. That was like a rule we had, right? So I would take some of my better wrestlers, some of my boys, and I would wrestle them and show them the moves, and then they would turn around and show the girls the moves. Well, I coached the girls no problem, and I had 2 girls at one state. You know, it was... But because of that, and I saw the effort the girls put in, yeah, it was like, all right.
See, the second fight on the Jones-Gustafsson fight is Nunez versus Cyborg.
Yeah, see?
And that's going to be it.
Yeah.
Because Nunez is moving up to fight
Cyborg. Cyborg's an animal, though. I mean, Cyborg's a freaking animal. I mean, that woman's just...
But that's the thing.
That woman's not a woman. That woman takes steroids.
Well, she used to.
Used to. Look at her now. I bet she still does.
No, she's in USADA. She can't. USADA test everybody.
Steroids are hard because all women have steroids. How do you tell the level? She can take steroids to the upper limit of what women can normally have and still be taking them and still test okay. Doesn't matter. Women can still take the roids. Guys can take roids on top of that too because you always have that limit where you may be high. But you're still taking roids. The steroids are different. I'm not talking. You can take. I'm sorry. Testosterone. She takes testosterone. Not roids. Testosterone. That's what I meant to say. So she's taking testosterone. You can tell it by the way she looks, by her physique, because all women have some testosterone in them. All women do. They have a little bit. We all have that little bit of estrogen in us. They all have that little bit of testosterone in them. So with that, they can take it up to that limit, that high limit of which was very low compared to us. We can all take testosterone to boost ourselves up, give you more physique and everything else, and still pass. As long as you're within limits, dude. You can do test shots.
Yeah, but the issue is the only pushback I have with that with the USADA is all the fighters that were suspected of taking testosterone to burst their levels. They're all out of the UFC now. Because
they're probably taking other stuff with it too.
No. They were taking. That's all they were taking, and that was the suspect.
Okay.
And then The second that USADA came in, they all started losing fights, one after another. They just couldn't hang.
Well, I wonder if they're taking testosterone boosters or actually tests.
No, it was just test. Like it's the normal stuff they were doing. But now they've all moved to a different fighting league where they can take testosterone and they're fine.
Yeah,
they're starting to win fights again. And that was that was the rumors, right? Like nothing's ever been proven. It's all alleged. But the alleged allegation was these guys, because they're older, they're in their 30s, like. So
they'd be able to take testosterone and get themselves back up to a 20.
But the problem is USADA was catching them. Because once USADA came in, the whole game changed. Everybody changed. And that's where you've seen, the big thing you've seen, like that I've noticed from what I've been reading, since USADA's come in, everyone's really been pushing the weight limits. Because now what you're getting are the crazy weight cuts and the people getting sick and the people missing fights. Not because of injury, not because of hurt. People just can't cut the weight. Because you have guys that are walking around 180, 190, they're cutting down to 170.
Well, I wonder if I don't know if they're doing this. I mean, I love UFC, but I wonder if they're doing this we had this in wrestling where you had to have a certain body fat percentage, and it was at 8%.
Right.
If you dropped under that, you had to have doctor's permission, you had everything else.
Correct.
Plus you had to, what they were also started doing towards the tail end of my wrestling career, they started to do a hydration test. And under hydration tests, that's where they find out if you've dropped weight too fast.
Correct.
Because they test your body fat and your hydration.
UFC doesn't do any of that right now.
Right now, we did in USA
correct.
Wrestling.
So there's a couple sports that have implemented it. Joe Rogan's one guy. He's really advocating that UFC do this.
Yeah.
Because what'll happen
is
pretty much you move everyone up a weight class. Once you do the hydration test, everyone's going to bump up a weight class.
Yeah.
Is what's going to happen just because of how much weight. I mean, you're talking.
Or you start losing it early on.
Most guys are dropping 20, 30 pounds. So even with the hydration change, they're not going to be able to make it. It's just too much weight they're going to cut. So everyone's going to have to bump up. You'll still cut. Obviously, like, think about it.
You'd be surprised. You can cut. Because if you start cutting early enough, then you will have to cut muscle. You'll have to do what you have to do to cut.
But if you want to be at optimal performance, you're not. Like, that's the thing they keep saying about DC. Once he went up to heavyweight, he doesn't have to cut. He was cutting down to 205. Dude walking around 245, 250. Yeah. Right? He was cutting down to 205 to fight Jones. Yeah. So it'll be interesting. Dana just came out this week. He wants to see a trilogy with Jones and DC, but he wants to see it heavyweight. So I'd be curious now if Jones beats Gustafsson, if DC actually fights Jones at heavyweight, because DC was cutting down to 205. So he was losing a lot of power and a lot of mass. Jones isn't naturally all that heavy. Like, Jones isn't cutting a whole lot to 205.
Might be an advantage for DC to do that.
So DC would be about 240. You figure Jones, 220, 225.
Yeah.
So DC would have about 15, 20 pounds on him. Neither of them have to cut. That would be the interesting part, right? Like, if they do a heavyweight,
just go full bore, yeah.
Jones doesn't have to cut, and DC doesn't have to go. They both could train their butts off.
Yeah.
And no matter how heavy they are, neither of them would have to cut anything the day before the weigh-in for the fight. So they're both walking in at their optimal peak health. That trilogy fight does intrigue me from the fact that...
Yeah, it'd be interesting if they did adopt that all that testing, because one of my last USA Nationals that I did was they did both fat and hydration. And I barely made hydration. I failed fat. I was at 6%.
And you need to be at 8,
But I have to be at 8. I got a doctor to test me. Because my hydration was there, he passed me with a test, and he says, okay, he'll be all right at 6. So I was 6% body fat back then, which is like nothing.
Right.
But I cut weight to make the weight I wanted to be.
Right.
Because I was walking at 210, and I went in at 185.
So you cut 25 pounds?
Yes.
Yeah.
And which was, for me at that time, was just like, now I weigh way more than that.
Yeah.
Because I don't diet, but back then dieting, and I cut that 25 pounds to make that weight.
It'll be curious. It'll be interesting to see if they do implement something like that, because I would imagine if you implement the hydration test, everyone's going to move up a division. Mm-hmm. So it'll be curious. It'll be with the amount of weight problems they had this year. I could see it coming.
Still tricks for the hydration test too.
There's always tricks. There's always tricks for anything.
And we're learning the tricks too.
Right, but it's all about a fighter being at optimal performance. Yeah. Like, tricks are only going to get you so far. It's like, yeah, you could trick the system, but is it going to put you at optimal performance?
No.
Like,
you can trick the system to pass a hydration test. It's not that hard, but
right.
You can.
But that's the thing. When you put everyone at that equal playing level now, are you going to risk tricking the system to fight at a different weight level if you're not going to be at optimal performance? That's what's going to come in. But
All right, guys, we're about an hour and 4 minutes. Hey, we're right on time, actually.
Yep. Everyone have a good Thanksgiving.
6:30. I want everybody to have a good Thanksgiving.
Absolutely.
Be sure to give thanks for everything you got. You know, pray for your family.
Yeah.
Pray for everybody out there. Go out and do something good for somebody else.
If you're a Republican, pray for the Democrats. If you're a Democrat, pray for the Republicans.
There you go. That's good. That's good.
You know.
So, everyone out there, be good. Do something good this week. And we will see you next Monday. We're out.